Welcome back to Christian World News. Hurricane Michael brought utter devastation to the Florida Panhandle. The Category 4 storm brought 155-mile-an-hour winds and a killer storm surge that wiped out everything in its path. Gary Lane reports.
After monster Hurricane Michael passed, video drones took to the skies of Panama City, revealing the extent of the damage. This is what's left of Mexico Beach, once a pristine and popular destination, now wiped out as if a bomb went off. But this devastation was not man-made. It was a powerful explosion of nature, one of the most powerful hurricanes on record. Michael came ashore 20 miles southeast of Panama City with sustained winds of 155 miles per hour and a storm surge catastrophic sea waves of 13 feet. By Friday morning, entire neighborhoods and beaches had disappeared.
So many lives have been changed forever. So many families have lost everything. Homes are gone, businesses are gone.
Department of Defense helicopter teams stepped in to conduct daring nighttime rescues of some people needing emergency evacuation. And at daylight, search and rescue teams went door to door, looking for people who may still be trapped inside their homes.
Mexico Beach took the brunt. That's probably ground zero.
The hurricane ripped the roofs off hotels and homes, shredding vinyl siding and scattering wood like toothpicks.
We were hiding in the closet, and all I could hear was a lot of wind, and I thought the roof was going to come off.
This woman and her husband were nearly swept away by winds and storm surge.
We'd let the current take us to the next stop, and then we'd grab onto a tree.
Michael moved quickly through Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, and then out to sea. Floodwaters surged through the Carolinas, already drenched by Hurricane Florence. Downed trees and gale-force winds knocked power out to 900,000 homes and businesses. This Virginia woman attempted to drive through rising floodwaters.
I was sinking, it was sinking fast. When I turned, I immediately started sinking, and I knew that I had hit the ditch. And I put it in reverse, and of course, it didn't go anywhere. I just thank God that my kids or my grandkids were not in the car.
Michael brought hardship in the southeast, but devastation in the Florida Panhandle.
Churches, of course, are some of the first responders in the hardest hit areas. Pastor Cole Bailey of Lighthouse Church in Panama City Beach says teams from his church began going out after the winds dropped to check on those who rode out the storm. They also checked for damage to the homes of those who evacuated. Hurricane Michael basically destroyed Lighthouse Church, as you can see there, ripped the roof off the main campus church sanctuary, collapsed the walls, and flooded this sanctuary. But Bailey says the church is more concerned about its people right now.
Buildings are very important. Of course, we love to have a place to congregate and worship. But what all of our staff and myself and what we're all doing right now is we've got teams going out. We're checking on everybody's home. We're checking on them, because you can rebuild buildings, but we're in this thing to make sure that everybody is taken care of and loved.
Bailey told CBN News that multiple churches outside of the area have reached out to him and will help to coordinate meals for people in Bay County.
I think everyone's still in shock, to be honest. Most people have never lived through anything like this, and with this amount of damage, I think really people, we're used to having air conditioning power and push a button and do whatever you want to do. Most people have never been through anything like this. I don't think a lot of people are coming back right now because there's not much to come back to until the power is restored and the power lines are cleared, and even like right now, I mean, it's probably going to be a 3/4 of a mile walk just for me to try to get to my house to see its condition, because the power lines are so down. It's a mess.
And Hurricane Michael, of course, has destroyed other churches. Seen here is damage the storm inflicted on the Destiny Worship Center in Panama City, which will also need to rebuild. Cleanup, recovery, and rebuilding after Hurricane Michael will take years. Meantime, victims and first responders will need clean water, hot meals, and other necessities. Operation Blessing is connecting with pastors to set up volunteer and distribution centers. OB's Tom Wiley met with one pastor in Panama City Beach who said the help can't come soon enough.
It was devastation. It felt like you'd walked into a war zone.
For Pastor Ben Pittman of First Assemblies of God Church in Panama City, Florida, it's been a devastating reality for him and his neighbors after witnessing the havoc of Hurricane Michael.
I think for the majority of the people here in Panama City, they weren't ready for this storm to be what it was. I don't even know the damage to the people of this city yet. I don't know if there's been loss of life. I don't know what family damages look like. I know people will have just lost a lot of jobs.
Panama City, along with many of these coastal regions, have been hit so hard, it's literally going to be a multi-year rebuilding effort. It's going to be a long-term recovery that's going to really require a lot of support from outside agencies like Operation Blessing. Pastor Ben believes this is a time for the church to come together.
Conflict and struggle doesn't create in us who we become. It exposes who we are. And so as a pastor, I'm looking at my people because that's the church. And I'm about to find out what kind of people we have as a church. Now is where the rubber meets the road for me. What kind of people do we have in our church? And from what I've seen already, it's pretty phenomenal. And it's strange, it's a little bit crazy to think that even in something like this, that we would see God move. When I find out that Operation Blessing is here to serve us, the initial reaction that I have is, we are not worthy to keep this blessing for ourselves. This had better go to the whole city. When I hear of an organization coming in like Operation Blessing, I have to give it away. It has to go bigger than Panama City First Assembly.
That's wonderful to hear. Operation Blessing is also at work internationally, right now helping victims of the killer quake and tsunami that struck Indonesia. Tremors are still hitting the area, and many people are living in tents for fear of another quake. Despite the dangers, our Operation Blessing teams are there giving aid and hope to survivors. Lucille Toulousan, that is on location and brings us this story.
Furman shouted, "Jesus help, Jesus help," while recording this video of mud swallowing up his village.
It's a miracle I managed to come out of it alive.
While there were miracle stories of surviving the earthquake and tsunami, there were thousands who did not make it. One of the many tragic stories includes Fatna. Her husband died during the earthquake when the building where he worked collapsed on him.
Now that he's dead, I don't know where to turn to.
Fatna is only one among tens of thousands affected by the earthquake and tsunami. Many lost loved ones, homes, and now live uncomfortably in makeshift tents. According to community leader Abdul Latif, food and clean water are desperately needed in these refugee camps. Today, an Operation Blessing team came to Fatna's village to teach them how to purify water.
Different kind of treatments of water, not only chlorine. We also have some little filtration systems, and also we have these aqua tabs that they can put it on the water and they can disinfect the water with that too. We're trying to do our best to support them in this hard time.
It will take several months before the city can recover, and this is why Operation Blessing will continue with its rehabilitation programs to help survivors get back to their normal lives. Lucille Toulousan, CBN News, Palu, Indonesia.